What is up, gang? Another Friday, another live stream. Starting today off strong. Lots of good stuff. AO carrying coolant. Let's let some people join up. Let's see what we got going on. We got some exciting news, exciting facts, exciting could you, should use, exciting events. A lot of exciting stuff. If the live loads. I don't know if it's gone. There it is. If the live loads. There it is. All right. Let me shoot this out. Let's see what we're getting into. We got a little yellow block. Woo! What are you doing with that yellow block, baby? Is this?
Need a jump pack, buddy.
All right, Turo. What are you doing with this yellow block, baby?
I'm making it fit into a Durango.
Oh my God, Demon 170 crate. Technically, they call it the your Elephant C170 direct connection crate motor. 3-liter big old blower. Big old yellow block going in this Hellcat Durango. Yellow block going in the Hellcat Durango. So expect fun things out of this thing. This is going to be a unit, but Arturo's doing his magic, transferring things over. This one should be relatively direct. It's just pretty much a motor swap, right? So
Oil pan, the manifolds, and the wiring harness. Oil pan, manifolds. And then we got a C170 motor in a Durango. Turo is not going to be late picking up his kid. He's not going to be on time. So I'm going to leave him, let him do his thing. He does better without the camera on him. Maybe not. So you'll see this shortly. Let's go see what else we have got going on. My Jeep, the Jeep I have been working on, struggling with, hating. Not really. It's just older, and there's some stuff that happens from old vehicles. But the motor is in. It will start. The battery is a bit low. Turn that jump pack on real quick so I can start it for the people. All right. It may start. Look, Cam Jeep. Yeah, buddy. Yeah. So, definitely feeling good. This one's alive again. Should be on the rollers very soon. Once I'm off the live stream, I'm just going to finish her up. 2.9 Whipple. Satera stick, custom ground camshaft. Some other goodies in there for her, but yeah, definitely feeling good. Cam bearings are in, everything's solid, so just collecting parts. That's kind of what it was. So we have this scat pack in. I believe it's a 7,000 miles, big build. Came to us from another shop, asking us to kind of go through it and make sure everything's good. So a lot of diagnostics, some wiring, some vacuum, some other stuff, just trying to get her to start. This is a long project that kind of came to us to find what it needs to get wrapped up and be reliable. So let's move on real quick, because that one's not down. I don't know where Dan went, but Dan is working on this beautiful, gorgeous super stock. What do you got going on, Dan? What have you been doing?
Just replace the starter.
Replace the starter.
Trying to get to start.
Trying to get her to start. Put a new blower on it, or?
Arturo did that one.
All right. Arturo swapped the blower. Did the blower C's, or? I believe the old blower C's. So new blower on. Of course, that little Kong throttle body. Dan's going to go ahead. Give her the old juice. Let her start up. Money. Gotta love it. So, now that Dan's being loud,
Yeah, this one's locked up. So, beautiful car. How you doing, Ray? So, it's kind of loud. Sorry, that's about it. Shop car, the Charger is sold. So if you want to buy a TRX, we got a TRX, but the Charger's gone. Let's see what's up with that. And hey Dan, can you kill it real quick? One moment, y'all. There you go. I'm just gonna have him kill it so you can hear the good words I'm speaking. So we got a Land Rover in. That's Matt is doing his magic on. We got a platinum interior. You can see the white interior, a little dirty. So Matt's working his magic with that platinum detail. I could never have a white interior car. With how dirty I am, it would never work. But little Land Rover, we'll probably post some pictures up when she's done. But yeah, window switches are right up here, which is fascinating choice. But I'm not the British guy that designed that, so I can't say too much. But yeah, look forward to this. If you guys have a car here in need of detailing, wrap, whatever it may be, let us know. We got you covered. Matt will take care of you. Get your car suited and booted. Captain Helmet, talk to us about these detailing services. Oh, okay, he didn't like that. But clean my Jeep. I'm going to tell Captain Helmet, get in that helmet, clean that Jeep. We're going to do maybe swimsuit washes. We'll see. But mini fridges out here. So let's go see what's up with Jay. Get those could you, should yous. What up, Cam?
What's good with y'all?
He said, we got to add a pretty face this live stream.
Of course,
So.
you're dirty.
Call me dirty. I get disrespected here.
Go. What's going on, everyone?
Gang, gang. Gang, gang. Oh.
Oh, jeez. That was creepy.
Yeah.
All right.
He ran away.
He ran away.
He ran away.
All right, so first up, before we get into the questions, we're going to do our product review. So this week, we opted for our booster pump. So we specifically use the JMS plug-and-play booster pumps. A couple reasons behind it, but first we'll go over what is the purpose of a booster pump for those that don't know. Also known as BAPs. You'll see that on the internet for short. Here, hold it. I don't want to hold it. You get paid to do that. So make it look pretty. So booster pump, what you do with it is you plug it into your fuel pumps and it increases the voltage to your fuel pump. Why? The more voltage, the faster it spins, the more it can pick up and increase the volume of flow. All right, so we like the JMS because they, for the most part, are plug and play for the applications they have. But why do you want to do that, right? One, you're running E85 on a pump gas setup and you want an increase in fuel volume. Two, you're going boosted from an NA setup. So again, you want to be able to increase the fuel volume of delivery to handle the increase in that flow as well. Those are the reasons why. So our E85 kits for Red Eyes, Trackhawks, Durango Hellcats, we run booster pumps. Sometimes on like a 5.7 or 392, when you implement boost, you can run a booster pump just to make sure that the fuel pump is being able to keep up with the demand that is needed. So, what are the pros to it? Pros, it's a quick way to get more fuel volume out of your factory fuel pump. Like I said, most of them are plug and play or very simple for installation. So it's a quick way to get a small bump in fuel flow. And like I said, on a lot of the dual pump factory setups, even the single pump, if you want to, they are plug and play, like we said, very easy. So, quick hit, we call them Band-Aids. They don't last forever, but they're fairly inexpensive compared to the cost of a fuel system. So for the time being, they work well. Also, if you're not racing every weekend and you occasionally enjoy the extra power of wide open throttle, when you introduce boost or need that demand, it works, right? So the JMS has adjustability of the pedal, right? The reason why we like to use, it's backwards. You got to figure out how to fix the mirror on that. But anyways, the reason why we like to do JMS is because it goes off of the pedal. They use a harness that plugs into the throttle itself, the throttle pedal, and that's what activates it. So you can determine at what voltage it kicks on and the ramp of how quickly it increases. Other ones on the market use hop switches or boost activated switches. We don't like those because it requires you to tap in somewhere for boost, right? Also, that's a switch that's reliant under the hood or around the elements, where this one is by the pedal inside the car. So just a little more of a reliable setup. Less intrusive from what we can understand, from a standpoint of operation. And reliability-wise, we have no issues with them whatsoever. In regards to 90% of the applications, the way JMS provides it is great. There's a couple switches on the front there. You'll see the switches here with the directions of what they do. Again, it's backwards, so you can't read it, so you can buy one if you want or look at the manual. But there's some different features you can get in regards to how it turns on and whatnot. So, but again, it's a Band-Aid, right? It's a Band-Aid for a fuel system. It allows a small increase, I'd say 20, maybe 30%, depending on how happy your fuel pump is. So it's a good way for a small bump in fuel volume for a temporary solution, right? Now, the thing you have to be aware of when you actually break down what it's doing is we are jacking the voltage up to that fuel pump. More voltage, spinning faster, more wear and tear, more heat, lifespan is reduced. So we do see that it does take out fuel pumps quicker than if they didn't have them, for example. So do keep that in mind. That's why we call it a Band-Aid. It's not an end-all be-all. They don't last. Well, the booster pump is fine. It's the fuel pumps don't last forever with that situation. So that's why the real answer for long-term, more usable, big horsepower is a return-style fuel system. We get ours from 4, dual or triple pump setup. Some applications and individuals out there run a dual and triple pump with a booster pump, right? So depending what you actually need, it might be necessary to get both of them. We have noticed that these don't work too well with the 4 system. It's very odd. We've seen issues when people try to piggyback onto those. We see the Kenny Bell ones do work better with that. Just they're a little simpler in regards to operation. They're the ones that run off of boost actuation or hop switch. So we have seen that the JMS don't respond well when it's a 4-style system. So if you make that type of power and that's the way you're going with it, then you're going to want to look into a Kenny Bell. But like I said, majority of our applications, all of our packages come with a JMS plug-and-play booster pump. So
nice
that is what they
for too.
Yeah, very nice. Makes it much easier for removal too if you have to take it out as well. So
just unplug stuff and
right.
For the most part.
From the pedal all the way up to the power cables and everything that they have for it in regards to the fuel pressure control modules, for example. So comes with everything as you see. So it's great product. We use them
non-intrusive.
Yeah, use them on a weekly basis. So there we go.
What goes into the pedal?
Plug and play. Yep, TRX one. Yep.
So make sure also if you're getting one that you order the correct one, because the different vehicles, years, whatever, will have different pedal connectors.
Yes.
So this is a TRX specific. It's not going to work on your 16 SRT.
Yep. So they do have them specific per model. So
Yep.
just get with us. We'll get the right one for you. Right.
That's the beauty of product specialists.
The booty of it, right?
Whoa.
All right. Now, everyone's favorite part. Could you,
Yes.
should use, and questions. So
Starting one off strong.
yes.
See it a lot all the time. Budget is a thing. But could you, should you get a $300, $400 pop tune, bang tune in general? Are all tunes built the same? Does cost matter?
Pop, bang tune, crackle tune, everything like that, right? We're seeing a big wave of those coming across the Mopar platform, which is sad, but it happens in all of them. You know what I mean? I know social media has a big part in that. So first, when talking about the $300, $400, or $500 ones, right? So let's first go over what we have to do to get a crackle, pop, bang, whatever you want to, call it, tune, right?
Oh,
so
boy.
I mean, even a flame tune, right? Everybody's like, oh, I want to see flame shoot up my exhaust.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Okay, so what you have to do to achieve that, just a basic breakdown of what it is you need raw fuel in your exhaust, and then you need to ignite it on fire. That's what you are asking a tuner to do for your vehicle, okay? So
sounds safe.
Yeah, right. So understand the explosion in a combustion engine is supposed to happen inside the combustion chamber, which has reinforced parts that are designed to handle that type of pressure. Okay. Now understand that pressure can exceed, 1 to 2,000 psi depending on the horsepower you're at. I mean, all are over 1,000 easily, but for example, the Demon 170 is over 2,000 psi, right? So big horsepower cars make more. Hellcats make a lot of psi as well. So you're saying I want to now move that explosion from inside my engine into my exhaust, okay? So how do you achieve that? Well, you have to retard your timing into a spot that is not safe. Now, advancing retarding timing, what does that mean? When you hear a tuner or anybody discussing that, it is when the spark ignition happens based on where the crank is in regards to TDC. So TDC is top dead center. So when you're advancing it, you are sparking the ignition before we hit TDC. When you're retarding it, it means it's happening after, right? So what that means is you're going to squeeze your air-fuel mixture, and then if your timing is negative retarded, the piston is going to be working its way down, and then you spark the explosion. Well, what happens is as the explosion's happening, right, the exhaust valve will start to open before the piston starts coming up, so that way the exhaust gases can get pushed out by the cylinder, or the piston as it's going up in the cylinder, right? So to get these pop bang tunes, you have to retard the timing so far that the piston is down so far that it ignites it late. So the explosion is still happening when the exhaust valve is opening, and then the piston will continue and push it out through the exhaust. So essentially you're pushing an explosion into the exhaust itself. Why is that bad? Well, technically the backside of the exhaust, the heads, the exhaust gaskets everywhere are not designed to handle that type of cylinder pressure, or pressure in general, exhaust pressure. So you're forcing a massive amount of pressure to make its way through the exhaust. Also the amount of heat, right? The face of the exhaust valve is designed for the heat, but the stem, technically the heads, the gaskets, the exhaust themselves are not truly designed for that type of heat. So that will wear them out quickly as well. So what you're creating is a bunch of heat. So anybody ever experience an exhaust manifold that glows red, right? That is caused by overly rich conditions and retarded timing. So you are forcing it to get into a condition where this can exactly turn your exhaust manifolds bright red. They will glow red because of the amount of heat that it's producing. So you're now introducing heat into places that it's not designed for. You got to understand that like the flange face on your head is now glowing red, which will transfer into your head itself, which is not good for the valve stem guide seals and everything like that. So this heat transfers into places on top of the fact that there is a ton of fire that goes everywhere, right? Out the tailpipe. I've seen guys burn their bumpers from
Catch their car on fire because of all the steez that got.
And I'm not going to use, and to give you a little background on what some of these tuners are doing, I won't use a name. I will just say it's a popular pop bang crackle tune. Somebody wanted me to fix their tune because of the issues they were having with the tune after they had this implemented. So sadly, I didn't get a stock file like I normally want. I'm not kidding you. What this individual did in regards to tuning, so right out of the gate, they put MBT, which is maximum brake torque timing. So that is what the max timing you are allowed to see at any given time. So from the factory, it's where they assume that max brake torque is. They put that table to minus 40 degrees.
What's it normally?
Positive. It's positive like 20, 30 degrees depending. And this is in D-cell or vacuum areas where it's usually very high, like positive 40 degrees in some areas. They were minus 40 degrees is where they lock timing, meaning
that's when you
get to that spot in regards to your driving situation, it will lock itself at minus 40 degrees. That is huge.
It's 80 degrees
That's
off
horrible.
where it is.
Exactly. 80 degrees off of where that spark ignition would happen.
Normally.
Wow. The other thing is, they leave cat over temp on, right? They leave cat over temp on.
90.
Okay? So, that's 90.
Yeah.
So, they leave cat over temp on, okay? They turn D-cell fuel cutoff off. this is one that blew me away, is they have power enrichment enabled with 0 voltage. So what that means, so you guys understand, when you're driving around, your car is trying to target Stoich, right? That's the designated AFR. 14.7 is what you're going to see on an aftermarket wideband, is what you're going to try and target. Now what power enrichment is a setting that when you achieve its requirements, which is usually pedal voltage, it will then add fuel for that given condition. It's a multiplier, okay? So what this tune was set up as is minus 40 degrees, and then power enrichment was turned on at 0 voltage, meaning as soon as you start driving this car, it's in power enrichment. So they just basically have it dumping fuel at any given time, being ready for you to lift your foot and see that minus 40 degrees of timing. You know what I mean? I don't understand it, guys. I really don't understand it. Now, I understand there's some vehicles from the factory that have a little bit of crackle when you let off. Manual Hellcats, for example, they do it naturally, so when you're shifting gears, you get a little bit of the crackle. I understand it might sound cool and everything, but when you're taking it to the extreme where you're literally firing 6-foot flames out your exhaust, you have to understand what's going on for that. Back in the day, the old school way of flamethrower kits is they literally had a fuel and a spark plug sprayed at the edge of their tailpipe, and it would do it there. They used the exhaust flow to shoot it outward. They didn't literally make an explosion through the whole exhaust, okay? So I do want you to understand that obviously we do 2 steps, right? Ways to build boost on turbo setups and launch control, and that's essentially kind of the same thing. So yes, it's not good, and we understand it's not good, but we do it so quickly just for those moments, and it's racing oriented. We know racing that it's risky, so understand it. But when you're daily driving, just going down the highway with 6-foot flames, tailing out your tailpipe, it's not just a small little thing that is cool. So
what's the benefit of it? Are there performance gains, or is it just...
Think about it, like I said, that one with being in power enrichment, as soon as you touch the gas, depending on how they have the settings set up, you might be in power enrichment where it's dumping fuel at part throttle. And it's literally in preparation for you to let off the gas and have the extra fuel there. So
why does my car get 6 to the gallon?
Oh, dude, if you're lucky, what I was seeing there, man, you're lucky to get 1 mile per gallon. But again, raw fuel dumping in places is not good, and then trying to force it to ignite in places it's not designed to is just not good. There's no positives from it. So this is one of those should yous. Should you do it? No. This is one of the rare.
Good.
Right. There's one of these could you, should yous. Could you?
Good.
You can if you want. Should you? No, you should not. No. They don't sound good.
They don't.
They don't. So,
maybe if you're in the car, I had a pop tune on my Sonic, and it sounded great in the car.
No, it didn't.
And then I heard it outside of the car, and it sounded really, really bad.
It sounded the same. It doesn't matter where you are. It's not.
I loved my Sonic, man. I'm going to get another one.
The Sonic's fine, but not the pop paint.
No, I blew 3 turbos that way. I blew three turbos. I forgot. Yes. I had a pop bang tune on my car.
Yes.
I blew up 3 turbos.
Yes.
Because of the pops. Because the hand grenade effect is blowing the turbo apart. Think of what that does, like he was saying. Manifolds. You got them JBAs on there? Or, whatever manifold you may have.
Nothing wrong with JBA.
Nothing wrong with JBA. Nothing wrong with anything. But if you have, let's say, not even naming brands, an eBay manifold or something with already
that's fine.
questionable quality welds, that 2,000 PSI explosion now blew them apart.
Yeah.
Now your fuel trims are wonky. Now your car's driving weird.
Oh yeah, fuel trims. Man, how do you dial it? You're literally forcing it in an open loop while you're driving. I mean, it has no closed loop operation.
No.
So the
only positive effect is that it goes pop, pop, pop.
Yeah, that's not positive.
No.
It's just the only effect.
No.
Yeah, so all right.
That's true.
All right, let's move on to some. So could you?
No.
No.
Should you?
No. I think this is the first one. It's a no. So.
How are BBK headers for Hellcats? Would you recommend it?
So we you get what you pay for when it comes to headers. Let's put it that way. So we focus mainly with one thing to understand too in the headers, guys, is the cats that you get with it. Because you should run cats for emissions reasons.
Yes.
Cook's long tube headers are the only headers that come with green cats, or they're carbon-proof cats. So keep that in mind. The other thing too, a lot of these long tube header manufacturers throw high flow cats on. If you actually research the power rating of what they're capable of, won't give specific names. It's not Cook's, but very popular brands out there. When you ask them what the power rating is on the cat they install, it's around 300 horsepower per cat. So if you throw this set of long tube headers onto your Hellcat that makes 700 horsepower from the flywheel already, you are exceeding what those high flow cats can do. This is why I see
on a stock car.
Yeah, this is why we see high flow cats fail too. So we focus, Cooks are our go-to because of the cats they use, handle the power we make, their quality, their lifetime warranty on them. The fitment has been great with them so far. We've had a couple leak from them, but they handled it real quick. And it wasn't from a fitment standpoint, it was more of a welding standpoint, which we get happens. We build turbo kits and smoke test them, and we were able to do that before they ship. But Stainless Works is another one we used a lot before. We no longer can use them. They won't let us buy from them because they won't let us buy from them. Texas Speed is another one we use for 2-inch headers. They great quality, great fitment again. The cats used on those are not rated for super high horsepower, so keep that in mind.
Shipping speed too.
What's up? Oh yeah, shipping on them, quality, service, everything like that. So Cooks, though, being the most expensive, they do have the lifetime warranty, the highest rated cats in regards to horsepower, and they're carb approved. So it's kind of a win-win-win across the board. American Racing headers are good. They're American made, and they're a little bit smaller of a company, so sometimes it takes longer to get them. We ordered a set of headers from them back in March for a Viper, and they just finalized them to ship now. So, but we know they just moved facilities to a larger facility to help accommodate and speed this stuff up. So another good brand.
All-wheel drive guys, I believe that they are one of the few options for all-wheel drive headers.
Yeah, especially 2-inch too.
Yes.
So we do use them quite a bit as well. But Cooks is kind of our standard go-to for all of those. Again, mainly for the cats and the horsepower and carb approval rating that they have. So. But a very good one there. So
absolutely.
What was the next one?
The next one is tick, 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 tick. Oh, there goes my lifter. Should I just do a cam job, cam and lifters, or should I replace the whole motor? We have done both things here, and we talk to the customer and let them know the options and realities every time it shows up. Yeah,
so the good old lifter tick, for those that don't understand it, basically on the Hemi platform, it's very well known that the lifters fail. It's the MDS lifters for the most part. It's by design. We're not going to jump into the whys. Average I see is around 60, 70,000 miles, depending how well you do your oil changes, is where they really start to go. But we've seen them with 5,000 miles and 120,000 miles. But the lifter tick, what is it? And why does it matter, right? So the lifter tick itself is the lifter failing and getting stuck. So it's really based on where or how it gets stuck, okay? If it gets stuck in a downward position in the valley, that means it's going to grind on your cam and take your cam out. And you're going to have, if you take the engine apart and you see immense amount of wear where metal is missing, what you have to understand is that metal then went somewhere inside the engine.
It don't just disappear.
It doesn't. Now, obviously, there's filters in place. They're not truly designed for metal. Now, for metal to wear down in that from friction the way it does, it's not in chunks. It's very fine. It's like a sandpaper worth of metal, like a dust, right? That can make it through the filter as well. So we get asked all the time, hey, I was told my lifter failed and I need to just replace it, so I want to do the cam at the same time. What you need to be prepared for is your engine is done. You have to replace the whole engine. Why? When you get that dust of metal going through your oil, going through the oil pump, going to your bearings and everything like that, what's happening is it's not supposed to be there, and it turns it into a very coarse material in which abrasive, yes, coarse abrasive. So as the bearings are holding the journals and they're spinning, it's going to grind it down slowly, so it's going to lead to premature failure. You're gambling on when that will happen. Some of us might get lucky and get 50,000 miles out of it. Others of us might get another 1,000. You don't know. So that's one of those that you got to be prepared for a damage assessment. Sometimes you can get lucky and it's stuck in the upwards position in which no grinding happens, right? That there's you don't have to worry about it. None of that made it through the oil. Then you can just replace the lifters in the cam. I see the thumb up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no love for me, right? It's just the too low every time. It's fine. I see. But,
oh man.
But so it's really based on a damage assessment. So you can go in with the plan of just replacing what failed and then upgrading the certain components. But like we said, we've had several motors where you open them up and the right thing to do is call the customer and say, hey, this cam's worn down extra, your lifter's worn down to a flat spot, so that means that metal went through the engine. What do you want to do? and then it turns into a very different conversation.
Yeah.
Also, too, inspection. We always inspect things when we take them apart. I can't tell you how many. I mean, there was one time on the live, if you saw, we had literally 3 cars in the air that we had to replace cam bearings at the same time. Wasn't part of the plan, but we inspect things when we take it apart and we see gashes and gouges. Again, is it required? Could you get away without replacing it? You can, but it's going to be risky, because if that takes away from oil pressure or just enough where it causes that bearing to fail or seize or whatever the case may be, it's up to you from that risk factor. Much better. I feel good. Hard like that one.
Okay.
Great. So that's one. Thank you. So
it's good to not have doubts. It's good to go into something knowing that there's no, ifs. Would my motor still be here if I replace that cam bearing?
Right.
Would I be able to go another 20,000 if I replace them?
Right. Yeah, and this is one of the reasons why, guys, too, we have a guideline in place where if you have more than 75,000 miles, we have a very deep talk with you where we might not even do we might refuse the job. We had somebody the other day reach out. They wanted to do a cam swap in their 220,000 mile vehicle. We told them we weren't interested.
Oof.
And it's one of those kind of from an assessment standpoint. Is it worth it doing all of that work? Because what else are you going to find, right?
Every gasket's going to be leaking.
Right.
Every bolt's going to be rusted. Things are going to be worn, just gone.
And from a shop standpoint, we budget accordingly based on what the standard time is for a job to take. Well, if it doubles because of rust, bolts breaking,
the customer's not going to be happy.
Right.
I was told it was 5,000. Now it's double.
Right. And
this is why. But
one of the things of we go in it right in the cam swap, we got down to a science, right? All of a sudden you got to wait for a cam bearing, which adds a whole ton of extra labor to it. Or hey, sorry, you really need a whole new motor because your cam ate itself, and now we wait 6 months because of timeline of work and what engine they want, and it's just it's a bad experience for everybody.
We'll call you back.
It's better for us to refuse a job sometimes to preserve that. And what's sad is I know there's shops out there that will take it and not inspect the cam bearings and you can just do the swap and your cam's chewed to hell, but it's fine. Just throw a new one in and it'll be okay.
Change the oil twice and it'll be all good.
Like we said, there's a right way and our way, and a wrong way. So we take the extra steps to make sure. So
reliability is number one.
Reliability is number one. Absolutely.
Speaking of reliability, could you, should you? What are the differences? Oiled versus oilless turbos. I just got a set of oilless comps.
Yeah.
Never played with them.
So what it is, as again, giving a little background to turbo. So the very original way a turbo operated is you fed oil from the engine to it and drained the oil back into the oil pan. Lubrication for the turbo because how fast they spin. I mean, I'm talking 20, 30, 40, 50, 60,000 RPMs, if not more out of some high boost applications, right? So, lubrication is huge. It helps with cooling and obviously just overall lubrication. Now, Comp Turbo has their oilless turbos. So essentially it's grease held internally inside its hub. People can badmouth it and everything, but assess it. We run Hellcats, we run Whipples, we run Magnusons, we run Pro Chargers, right? They're all self-contained grease units, right? I mean, and Pro Chargers and Vortex, for example, they're self-contained oiling units. They can exceed 20, 30, 40, 50,000 RPM based on the gearing that's going on in there, right? So keep that in mind. There are superchargers that do it. A turbo, the only difference is there's no belt driven off of it. So why isn't it a bad idea? Well, the thing you got to understand with this, turbos do get a lot hotter because they're attached to the exhaust with the back pressure and the amount of friction and everything. So they get cooking, right? Is there a place for them? Absolutely. We have been educated on them that they're not designed or they don't like engine bay mounted locations. If you do that, you have to grease them more. They have Zerk fittings on it and you grease it like a ball joint, right? You just got to grease it more frequently if it's in an engine bay mounted location. But if it's rear mounted or in a free-flowing air space, you can grease it every oil change. So it has its purpose. There's a lot that makes some big power on it, but it does require more maintenance. And the thing about the greasing it, there's no way to truly tell how much is inside of it. So there's a lot of guesswork that goes into it. You know what I mean? But essentially what it comes down to is that the more you abuse it, the hotter you run it, the quicker the grease evaporates. Because of the style type of grease that it is, it does evaporate and disappear. So that's why you do have to grease it. It doesn't leak out. It doesn't do anything like that. It just evaporates. So more maintenance behind it. They work. We've done turbo kits with them with, single bay, engine bay mounted TRXs. Got a few of them running around. We did have one fail, and they just notified us to grease it in more frequent intervals than what they told us originally. So part of the learning process and understanding what goes into it, right? So do keep that in mind. But they work. Yeah, they make power. It's a convenience thing. I had a 2010 Camaro where the turbos were mounted where the mufflers were behind the back tire. I ran that for like 4.5 years, and I'll tell you, one of the biggest headaches of a rear mount turbo setup is oiling of the system, right? You got to feed oil to it and then feed it all the way back. I learned a ton about scavenging systems and pumps and do's and don'ts. Trust me, I went through everything on that. Got it down to a science now, but it's one of those. Back in the day, they weren't available. When I ran them, I probably would have tried it. I'll tell you, it would have made it a lot easier.
Oh, yeah. You just kind of slide it on and call it a day.
Right? It eliminates a big portion of it. It's just piping at that point. But there's a purpose for it, absolutely. And we have used them and will use them. He's putting them on his car. So there's a place, absolutely. Could you? Sure. Should you? Pending your application, absolutely. So just be educated on what goes into it and the maintenance behind it. So.
It's nice because I don't have oil lines hanging low, so if I take it off road, go to a campsite or something, I don't got to worry about stuff getting caught.
Take your twin turbo Magnum with the built trans off road.
That was the point of buying it. I bought it to sleep in, and it just working here. It's bad. I just keep getting stuff, and it just keeps. It's supposed to be a daily. Never ends. All right. Speaking of never ending, I have heard this question more times than I can count. Could you, should you, what is the difference? I can only count to 3. So, our clutched 310 versus the Litton's clutched 317. It's so small, does the number make a difference? I mean, obviously, everything we make is gold, so ours is the way to go.
Absolutely, shiny, right?
Especially with the Grip Tech coating, optional.
Yeah. So, what this is a reference to, for those that aren't aware, this is the clutch pulley that we offer for the Hellcat platform. Our pulley sizes go from 310. We have OEM size at 3.3. We have 310, 286, 274, and 2666. So, Lightens is the company that makes the OEM clutch pulley from the factory. And they came out with their Hellraiser series, which has smaller sizes to increase boost. So, props to them. They inspired us to make our design. We, just sought out to kind of make our own, right? We saw an area of opportunity for improvement. Our clutch pulleys, we have 2 versions. We have a single size, which is like an OEM, where it's a solid hub, or not solid hub, but it's a solid size. You can't switch it. And then we have our Rings of Hell pulley, in which it's kind of like all the other ones out there, where you get a hub.
Grip Tech.
Yep, Grip Tech coated. And then you have the 5 bolts on it, in which you can slide the ring off and change the size. So it's clutched and has the swappable ring. We've come a long way from the original version. They've been out going on 4 years now. We're technically on our generation 2.5, if you want to call it, and learned a lot over the time. A lot of feedback. We had a lot of beta testers. Of course, it wasn't perfect. Still not perfect. We're trying. It's part of any product growth is improvement. But the fact is, we did something nobody else did besides the OEM manufacturer. So the difference is, I'm going to speak to what ours do. I'm not going to, Lightens is great. There's nothing against them. We just did things a little differently. So our pulleys technically have a clamping force that is 4 times stronger than what Litton's designs theirs for. So the torque handling, obviously making a lot of horsepower. The newer one's much better than before. We understand that. It's as you learn, right? But yeah, our clamping force is a lot stronger.
Tons. All of it.
Way stronger in regards to what it can take. So obviously, if you have a really, really small pulley, very high RPM, a shift, right? Shifting at 7,500 RPM, and it's going to grab
Something
again.
like a 266.
Right. Yeah, the 266 upper, 10% lower, right? I have a car out there that we shifted at 7,400 with that combination, which is not safe. We know it's not safe, but testing, we had to try. We want to make sure that clutch pulley would be able to grip on engagement and disengagement. So to explain what a clutch pulley is, we can do the bike comparison. BMX bike is a solid hub pulley. That's your Metcos, your Grip Techs, everything else out there where you put a hub on, bolt it on, and there's no clutch or uncoupling device built into it. It's very hard on the crank, very hard on the blower, right? Belt slip happens every time the engine RPM changes. So we wanted to alleviate that. We wanted to have the ability for it to free spin when needed. So shifting, decel, when you turn the vehicle off, if you have a clutch pulley and you turn the Hellcat off and you hear the growl at the end, satisfying, but it shows you it's working. And what you have to understand, if you haven't done that, or you know somebody that has a clutch pulley, listen, we'll post a video of it next week probably. But when you shut it off, some of them go for like 1.5, 2 seconds. What that tells you is those rotors wanted to spin for an additional 1 to 2 seconds after you shut the vehicle off.
Inertia.
Right, inertia. They're heavy. Those rotors are heavy, right? So with a solid hub pulley, you are disabling the ability for it to do that. So what happens? That energy gets transmitted into the bearings, the crank pulley, everything. It's just harsh on everything. That's the benefits of a clutch pulley. So back to the bike analogy. BMX bike is a solid hub pulley. Your pedal and your sprocket and your chain are direct connected. You pedal backwards, it goes backwards. You pedal forward, it goes forward. Same exact thing. So you're accelerating up a hill, you're pedaling, and then you hit the peak and you're going downhill. What happens on a BMX bike with a direct sprocket and chain? Those pedals will continue to increase RPM. That's the inertia, right? Trying to make it go faster. Try to put your feet on it. What happens? It chews up your shins. Everybody's been there that's had a BMX bike. Now, get an 18-speed bike. You pedal up, same thing, and then you start going downhill. You can stop pedaling and let gravity, inertia, and all of those external sources of energy continue to go. You can still accelerate without pedaling. That's exactly what a clutch pulley does. So that's the benefit of clutched over a solid hub pulley. It's better on bearings. Belt life lasts way longer. So, you know, you think about it, you put the Grip Tech pulley on for it to grip, right? And you do a 7,400 RPM shift and it goes down to 6,700 RPM. That belt slips every time and it's just going to chew down that belt quicker. So under acceleration, it's great, but the shifts and decel, you got to be ready. Ours, it prevents the slip under acceleration. So what if it grips? It's clutch. So if those rotors want to go faster than what that pulley hub is doing, go for it. It does it. So that's one of the pros. The difference between ours is we have the swappable ring option. We have the ability on our swappable rings of hell option with the Grip Tech, so it's a combo, right? In regards to the size, the 310 to the 317, it's so minute in regards to the boost pressure differences. Just being honest, from a marketing standpoint, we just wanted to separate ourselves and have an ability to stand out. So, you know, 310 sounds nice, looks nice, goes well with the combination. So that's why. So in regards to, you know, any combination with the 317 or 310, you put it on, you won't notice a difference other than the pros to what ours offer with the extra clamping force, the Rings of Hell, having Grip Tech as an option. Our support internally is dual ceramic ball bearing, front and rear. So we have a lot of support in there. What that means is you can run an idler with it as well. So those super aggressive combinations. Some guys don't want to change their lower pulley, so they want a very small upper. You can run our 266 upper with a adjustable idler and push down on it, and it won't cause it to fail. So the most common failure we see, both on, you know, because we installed Lightens for a long time before we had ours, is installation error. Alignment is huge when it comes to these setups, because the clutches that are used in both of our setups, Lightens and ours, they don't do well with an extra force of front to back. So if your belt alignment is off and, you know, let's say the pulley's sticking out too far forward, so the belt is pulling it back, that force on that clutch is not truly designed for that. We have a little bit built in with the ceramic ball bearings by design, because under acceleration and decel there is a little bit of front back motion, but not as much as if the belt is pulling it. Same thing, if you're too close to the snout and it's pulling it forward, it's the same type of concept. That's the most common sign. That's why we now supply 2 spacers with every pulley of ours, so that way we can measure and make sure alignment is accurate. The other most common failure we see, especially now there's more miles on vehicles that people are pulling pulleys on. You know, back in the day when the average you saw was 3,000 miles on a Hellcat vehicle when it was being swapped, but you're seeing 30, 40, 60, 70, 100,000 mile Hellcats getting pulley swaps, right? Understand that there's a bolt in the back of the snout shaft, and it very much is like a crank bolt, okay, to where there's no pin in it. And what we've seen is when guys install pulleys, they don't check the torque spec on that back bolt. So it's a common practice for us to do it. We actually now, any pulley in-house that we are suspect on, we actually remove that hub and we pin it. So we pin that shaft with the that plate on it. So we pin our anytime we install them in-house. So it's a good common practice to get into. Benefits of the CNC and having an engineer on hand. He basically designed a pin kit for us, just that extra step. But we started seeing more and more people remotely where they're like, oh, your clutch pulley failed, it was horrible. Our procedure for warranty is sending in the snout so we can verify alignment and installation. And I'm not exaggerating, 9 times out of 10, it's that hub is spinning in the back. That's why it loses boost, because it just free spins. And you lose your boost. So we've seen it more and more frequent. So
Seems
guys,
like in the last 2 years, it's really
ramped up tremendously. So and it's something we battle. That's why our warranty procedure is we have to get the snout so we can verify alignment and verify that. Have we had pulleys fail? Absolutely. I'm not going to lie and say we haven't, but it is a very, very small amount in regards to as long as everything was installed correctly. I've seen there's aftermarket bearings out there, for example, that it turns out they're a little thinner than OEM. So we saw a lot early on before it was understood that when people were installing the pulley, it would pull it in real close to the snout and alignment would be off. And then you're getting a lot of frontal force on it. I guess it's rear force by pulling it forward by that belt because the alignment was so far off. So these are the things you learn over time, right? I mean, technically we're finally hitting 10 years on the Hellcat in regards to the platform being around come 2025 when it released in 24. So it's still, up until recent, it still was very infant in regards to learning and modification and stuff like that. So yeah, it's just one of those, you keep learning and growing, right? So that's the difference, is our clamp and force, the fact we have the Rings of Hell option with Grip Tech potential coating if you want, and just by design it's reinforced inside to take the extra abuse for those added things. But nothing against them. We appreciate what they do and what they've designed. They still make the OEM pulleys for the Demon 170, so they can take power. It's just we kind of took that one step up and dove into it a little bit deeper from a performance standpoint. So
from functionality with the swappable rings.
Yeah.
No more taking the snout apart.
Right.
5 bolts, boom, you're done.
Boom.
Call it a day.
Boom.
Do you have anything else?
Do
we need Grip Tech?
Do we need Grip Tech?
Should you add Grip Tech to a pulley?
Could you, should you? Great question. So again, recap, it only comes on our Rings of Hell pulley. It doesn't come on the single size due to design.
Metallurgy and such.
Yeah. So could you? Yes. Should you? So pretty, isn't it?
Yeah.
So again, what it is a patented texture, coating, and procedure that they implement into the ribs of the pulley to reduce belt slip. So we reduce the potential for belt slip with a clutch pulley naturally just by being clutch. But when you get to an aggressive pulley combination under acceleration, the belt still can slip. So our reduction of belt slip comes on decel instances. So when you let off the gas on a shift, when the RPM drops quickly, or when you turn the vehicle off, that's where we reduce the belt slip because it decouples and it basically spins freely for a split second. Okay. So what the Grip Tech coating does is it prevents that slipping from happening under the acceleration. So really on the 2666 upper, we do strongly recommend it. It's a very small pulley. Even like we said, you can still see it without that being on there. Our 274 10 lower combination, we don't see a lot of it, but again, doesn't hurt. If you're a racer and every second counts and you're going to hot lap it, it probably is a good idea because as belts get hotter and pulleys get hotter, it introduces more slip. So it doesn't hurt. So it's one of those where depending on your application, for example, like our level 1.5 package with the 286 upper, we don't really see belt slip on it under acceleration. There's enough surface area on it. The 3010 upper, it looks cool. Why not? But again, we don't see a lot of belt slip given the data logs and stuff that we see. So I don't think it's required all the time. It looks great. It's beautiful. It works. So no matter what, you have a 310 upper only, you can definitely do it, and it will prevent it from slipping at all. But
You
like
physically feel it if you have one in your hands. Like this is a non-coated 266. You can see.
Yeah, they're gonna be able to feel that, right?
Yeah,
they're gonna be able to feel
come into the shop. Come into the shop.
Yeah.
Come over here.
Right.
You can hold these in your hands.
Yeah.
You can feel it. But
Yeah, that's why we have them here is to show you. You can feel it in person. The difference when you slide your fingers across it, and the same thing happens with the grip tech.
Yeah.
So it absolutely in person, it makes a massive difference on it. So aggressive combinations with a very fast RPM acceleration, I do strongly recommend it, but application specific. So.
I think I've ran out of stuff to talk about.
Yeah, nobody else came through. I know there were a couple. Did we miss any?
Oh, why is the Magnuson 2650 not as popular on Hellcats as it is for GM?
That's a great question. So, recapping, why is the Maggie 2650 not popular on the Mopar platform? The honest answer is marketing. Whipple nailed it. Whipple got the contract with the drag pack, so that's what it comes down to. Same reason as why is Vortec not popular on the Mopar platform when you go to Ford and that's the leader when it comes to centrifugal blower. It's a marketing standpoint. I'm a big fan of it myself. We did run it. Cooley, when he worked here, Cooley be coolin' with Hawkeye. He put one on and loved it. In my opinion, for a nice 1,050, 1,100 wheel horsepower type of setup, it's a decently reliable blower. A lot of guys say they're unreliable because, like anything, they started overspinning them like crazy to really try and push it. We're guilty. We're guilty on it. We had several applications where we really went with the cog setup in the back, real small pulley up front, and things like that. But even for a efficient setup for 950, 1,000 wheel, it is a very good blower. We also noticed cooling was really good on it too when we had it. Their intercooler and design is much better than OEM. So I'm a fan of it, honestly. I like the fact that it's a dual pulley setup with a cog in the rear and just a normal pulley 10 rib up front. So you can initially get more boost by changing the cog setup in the back while keeping a large surfaced area pulley in the front. But yeah, there's some fast vehicles out there. I'm excited that they came out with the Maggie 2650 for the 5.7 and 6.4 platform now. It was one of my biggest things when I was talking to our representative over there, like, that, they were asking us why we weren't selling as many as we were Whipples, and I said, because you don't have a bigger blower for the 5.7, 6.4 platform. When the Whipple 3.0 came out, all they had was the 2300. So, yeah, I think it's a great option, for the 5.7 392 guys now. That Maggie 2650 is a very good option if you want to get 6, 7, maybe 800 wheel horsepower out of it. Again, you will be limited because it's 6 rib on that application. But yeah, I'm a big fan of the Maggie, so I would love to see more run it, and I think it is a good blower. It's just, like I said, it was a marketing standpoint thing. They just really didn't push forward in this platform. They were taking over the GMs and stuff like that, tremendously with the LT4, LT1, and so that's kind of where their focus was. Us Dodge guys get forgotten, right? So Whipple embraced us as Dodge, enthusiasts, and then ran with it. So that's why. Great blower, though. We have one upstairs. Joe actually has one upstairs.
Yeah, we do.
So, yeah.
Touching on that topic of blowers.
Yeah.
Do aftermarket blowers have similar whines to stock ones? Do all blowers whine the same?
No.
I can answer. Mine doesn't even whine at all.
Yeah. You have which one?
I have a Edelbrock 2650. I believe it's ported. I don't know.
Yep.
I bought it used.
It is ported. Yep.
Zero whine. You
Yep.
don't hear it at all. It just sounds like an NA car.
Yep.
No whine.
And it's for sale.
It is for
That
sale.
was what I was leading in as a
Yes,
sales
I have an
pitch, so-
Edelbrock 2650 that's ported for sale.
Yeah.
And if you don't buy it, I'm going to ruin my 300 and cut a hole in the hood and put it on there and probably get fired for that one. But
So, do they make the wine? No, they don't all wine the same. The Maggie, for example, Maggie 2650, which is crazy. There's not a lot of videos out there because there's not a lot on the Hellcat power on the Hemi. It's a very interesting, like, jet engine sound almost. One of our customers back in the day, there was one of the selling points for it is the way it sounded when he found a video of it. So you do hear the blower and it's there, but it's not a whine. It's a very interesting sound. The Whipples tend to whine a little bit, very closer to like the OEM blowers. So that sound It's the easiest way to explain it is whistling, right? When you whistle and you form your lips, I'm not going to do it because I don't want a meme or a GIF made from it, but you can do it if you want to give some. There you go. So
I can't whistle.
you know, as you're whistling, when you change the diameter and the shape of your mouth, the whistle sound changes in pitch, right? So the sound is actually based off of the airflow passing through the snout, through the bearing support, and through the rotors and out through the openings. So that's why also ported blowers sound a little different, because we're changing how that path goes. So yeah, it's one of those, no, they don't all sound the same. You know, and that's why, for example, even like centrifugal blowers, sometimes they're dead silent with helical gears, right? Well, not dead silent, but almost silent.
Vortex don't sound the same as Pro Chargers.
Yeah, it's all based on the airflow path and the rotors themselves, on how they engage in the shape of them, and that's where these blower manufacturers, right? You know, Eaton, Magnuson, Whipple, they have their own rotor design and shape and ports, and it's all where the sound comes from. Is essentially it's a big whistle. So. No, they don't sound the same. So if that's something that's important to you, definitely research. Because yeah, the Edelbach 2650 was a sleeper blower, man. Well,
no one trusts them boosted because
yeah,
they don't hear it.
I was a fan of that blower when it came out early because it was one of the bigger blowers for the 5764 platform. It drove one of the first 9-second stock HP70 cars into the 9s multiple times. I mean, it made good power and took a beating, and it still works flawlessly. He bought it off of that car.
I've probably put 20,000 miles on it.
Florida and back. I mean, so
in the summer at daily.
Yeah, the Maggie's the 2650 is good blower, and they're very efficient for what they are, being a 2.6 liter blower, and they have very good cooling behind it. But yeah, the path, the complete path will determine what the sound is. I know some blower companies work in baffling to try and dampen them, like Mercedes, for example. They really try to dampen the sound for a luxury standpoint. So,
and then the actual intake you use itself affects sound.
Absolutely.
So I see Anish is saying that he likes how his sounds with the leg maker.
Yeah.
And that's a real loud, crisp sounding one.
Yeah, and the actual intake itself, right? You have a tight little small pipe with a small air filter, going to be dampened compared to leg maker or JLT with a nice big filter and opening on it. So that all kind of contributes. But the blower itself is based on the airflow path. So
kind of fun. There are lots of little ways you can tune how it sounds.
Yeah, technically, yeah, absolutely. What
Yeah.
else? I think there was another question that came through.
Tom Eisenhower wants to go 9599. You got this, Tom.
Oh, you'll get it, Tom. We got it.
You got it, baby.
Absolutely.
So glad I switched your clutch pulley. I used to hear the screeching every time I let off. Absolutely. If you have a solid pulley car and you have shifts, you hear it. But the Magnum doesn't have turbos. I'm just getting made fun of.
Yeah, okay.
Darren's complaining about how slow his DSM is. Oh, people believe that if you tune out the MDS, that those lifters will be okay. Can you just turn off your lifter, the MDS, and then everything's good?
No. Yeah, piggyback into the cam swap with an MDS lifter failure, just disabling it in the tune doesn't fix the fact the mechanical defect is there. You can't turn off what that lifter was designed. It's a mechanical defect on how it was designed. So no, just disabling it in the tune doesn't do it. I will say to prolong the life, proper oil changes every 2,000 to 3,000 miles. Use synthetic oil. Those are things that will go a long way. And basically what people say the problem with that is because the lifters are at the highest point of the engine. It's the hardest to get oil to them. So dirty oil, thick oil, things like that might not get up there as quickly. And then drainage as well. Gravity pulls them down based on their design. So that's what the theory is on it. So did Ron say something about a Kenny Bell, or was he just explaining?
You should see what the new 2K24 Kenny Bell does in slow motion when you shut it down from Watt. Modifying the engine.
Yeah. No, he's talking about seeing a solid hub pulley when you do a slow motion video on it. I probably should do that on the dyno. I think that'd be kind of cool to upload. But we've done it before and tested it on our pulleys to show that what happens in slow motion during a shift on the dyno. You can see what happens with a solid hub pulley and a non-solid hub. The problem is we don't get a lot of solid hub pulleys here, even with the Whipple. So we start losing out on that. So I think it's time to go get some food. I'm hungry, man. So thanks again for checking in, guys. Keep the questions coming. Also, make comments or let us know what products you would like reviewed so we can throw them in, give shout-outs, and explain what they do if you don't know, or if you're thinking about buying something. Let us know. So have a good weekend. Thank you again, everybody, for checking in. The support, always. We love you guys. Thank you so much.